Hey everyone, I'm Ken Rakowski, and that is Sandy Grigsby, and we're here once a week. We've gone through different iterations of this hour we spend. We called it Couples Corner, but this is not about couples. We've called it just the Sandy and Ken Hour, whatever it is.
It's the Sandy and Ken Hour.
We're hanging out with you, and we're giving you some insights from what we've learned through our decades and decades of going through all those from Tony Robbins, Brendan Burchard, big conferences, events around the world, what we've learned from running organizations to bring it to you. Now, every once in a while, Sandy would say the term done the work. And when she refers to done the work, that is an ongoing process. Done the work does not mean past tense. It means I've done it, but I'm still doing it, right?
Yes.
That's constantly making sure you're understanding what you are as a human being, not just allowing life to pass by, but being part of life and learning. So reading the books, listening to the podcast, watching the shows, but doing all of that. So doing the work means you are constantly investing in yourself.
But you're also raising your level of consciousness.
What's that mean?
That just means overall your awareness for things and how you view life and how you look at yourself. So a lot of like looking back inside yourself. Like I can't even talk today, but that's pretty much what it is.
You've been on calls.
I've been on like back-to-back Zoom calls.
Yeah, the inner perspective of looking at yourself.
Yes, there you go.
So, but doing the work is an ongoing process. Now, what I really admire about this one, thank God I date her, because otherwise I would have so many stalking violations. But
yeah, well, that's how you found me in the first place.
I have no idea what she's talking about. What I admire is she also reads the things that you wouldn't expect a woman to read. Like, for example, The Way of a Superior Man.
It's one of my favorite books.
Okay, so she's gone
I tell
after...
all women they should read it.
Well, why?
Because it's super powerful. It allows you to see what men are feeling and the way they're thinking and their problems and the issues that they deal with in relationships with women and other men. So it's a really beautiful book. So I always encourage women to read it and to really understand it. And then we can see how we're perceived through men's eyes, which is transformative in itself.
Last time you read it, you said you cried.
Yeah.
Because you saw things that you did
yes.
that sabotaged the relationship.
Yes, and it made me understand the thinking process of men. It's so different than women. So when people, it's probably going to light a match somewhere, but when people say, you know, let's be neutral in terms of gender, I say you can't be, because men think differently than women. So it's like feminine and masculine. Now you could be a man who's feminine, you might be thinking a little closer to women, but what I've seen from my research and from speaking to feminine men is still the way that their brains function and fire is different than the way women think. So once you're born with, you know, female genitalia, your brain is going to go in a different way, even if you want to be a man. So I'm just saying it's just different.
Well, also, I've tried to create metal for women about 5 different times, and they've all somehow imploded. And I use the same formulas I would do for the guys. And every time it seems like it's working, it's like, what? It would just almost self-sabotage itself. And I realized that women connect and have relationships in a very different way. Very different way. For example, we bring this up every once in a while, the thing called the queen bee syndrome, which guys, we don't see, because even on this call, we all have different types of levels of success, different accolades, but we don't look down on one saying, I've got more than you, so I can't talk to you. Where women almost say, hey, I have done so much to achieve where I'm at. I'm going to assume as much power in this group as possible. And if anyone is second to me, I need to destroy them so they can't be equal to me.
Now, this doesn't go for all women. There are women who've done the work and then they've gone beyond that.
Absolutely.
But even as a woman who's done the work, there's times you have to catch yourself because you're like, should I make her suffer a little bit? And then you're like, no, we gotta let that go.
Nothing comes out of that.
You have to step past it.
Nothing comes out of that. And also there's another thing, and again, this is
Joette's
not
smiling because she's like,
This is not about our topic, but it's around the idea of honor. And it's fascinating because this is a topic that I bring up amongst guys often. If any of you watch Game of Thrones, it's great, right? Game of Thrones. But if you really analyze, especially the last season, you realize that every single battle, every single major death was caused because of a woman.
male writers, I think.
Male writers, right? But you identified something saying, there, it proves again, women have no honor. Now, this is not a negative, but it's where, hey, if Mark and I and Michael are together and someone threatens us, you know, right away, maybe all three of us are going to say, all right, we're going to stand our ground. We're going to protect one another. We are there to make sure none of us get injured, or we're going to take it on ourselves. We are going to be warriors. Honor. Group of women, let's seek shelter.
They'll seek shelter.
Go your own directions.
They'll protect their children.
Right.
They'll protect their immediate.
But when you say no honor, it actually goes in the direction of a woman's going to look at her center circle more than anything than her external circle.
Jeez, my phone's trying to tell everybody what you're saying.
No, it's on. Yeah, Siri wants to.
Yeah, Siri's trying to spread messages. That one's a tough one because I think the way that we look at honor is so different than the way men look at it.
Go ahead.
And
explain it.
It's hard to explain, but women we see things differently. So by looking at something as honorable, we're going to look at things in terms of what's the priority and what do we need to do first. Well, and the way I like to give the example is if there was a woman in the road and a man saw her about to get hit by a car, he would jump in front of her to save her, like and jump in front of the car to push her out of the way. That's like thoughtless. A guy would just do it. Women, not so much unless it was like their kid. I mean, some women will take a bullet, but generally they would think first. They don't have the same processes that some guys would have.
Jason, what are you saying?
It's not exactly like that, but that's just like a simplified.
Wait, I want to hear Jason.
Version.
Can't hear Jason. Jason, what are you saying? Can't hear you, Jason. Want to hear you. Need to hear you. Make it happen. Make it happen. Joette, what were you going to say real quick while Jason's figuring that out?
I view things differently when it comes to women. I'm more skeptical with women. I'm a guy's kind of girl, so I'll defend my men. I'll fight with my men. I'll fight for my men. But a woman, I'm a little different. I will protect her, but so many women are catty and backstabbing. I don't trust women at all.
There's a reason why I'm bringing this up, and it does connect with connection. You're going to say something, Jason? Nope, we saw.
But that goes back to my point of the honor. So women will protect their own. So they'll protect their man, they'll protect their lover, they'll protect their children. But it takes a lot for them to go beyond that. While a man has the honor and he will protect his country, he will protect his business, he'll protect his community. That's more apt for a man to do than a woman. Not that a woman won't. There's exceptions to every rule,
Of
right?
course there is.
But generally, as a woman, we're like, yeah, no, maybe not.
But
Go have fun with that. We'll see you later.
But this does go back to the idea of how we all, both sexes, view things differently.
Yeah.
We really do.
I agree.
You got it working?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you go. All right.
Well,
What are you gonna say,
nobody
Jason?
likes this story because it's unpleasant. But imagine in ancient times, right? Two tribes living across the river from each other. You're in your little village. You've got the opposing tribe over there. Guys tend to declare war on one another for resources. They have a battle, and the victors go over to the vanquished village. Wives and children are still there in the village. And the guy who just maybe ran a spear through your mate shows up at your hut. You're a woman in the hut. You've got little children in there. They're not ready to be on their own. And he says, well, what's it going to be? Would you like to have a new husband? Or would you like to carry a torch? I just killed your husband, so you can either join me as my mate, one of my mates, or that's the end of you. And so women, any woman who at that time, hold on a sec. Truman, will you let your mom in? She's in the garage. How about that? My wife is locked out. Any woman in history, I have to finish the story, who said, no way, that was my husband and I love him, and and she starts pounding on his chest, guess what happens to her? So we bred that out. That's gone. That's what I think you mean, Ken, by no honor. It is an honor, but the honor is to protect the genes.
Yep, absolutely.
Not to protect the
Exactly.
memory of her dead husband.
That's why it's like if it's something immediate, they will. And women, it's been bred into us, like you said, because the whole thing is to, when you have children, to keep that line going. That's why women can get very vicious in relationships when they think you're cheating on them, because in their minds, you belong to me. I have children with you, or will have children with you. And I'm going to keep that line going, and you're not going to break that line. And if another woman tries to intercept, that's when they get really vicious, claws come out. And that's where you see stories like, I know a woman, she actually, remember the lady that I interviewed for my podcast?
Yes.
There's a lady I interviewed, she's amazing. She was in prison, she had her baby in prison. And then years later, when she finally
delivered
got
her
out,
baby in prison.
yeah, she delivered her baby in a prison hospital. And years later, when she got out, she ended up making a huge successful business with her husband. Her husband ended up cheating on her. And instead of going, my husband's a jerk, I'm going to kill him, she went, the woman who cheated with my husband, who happened to be her best friend, I'm going to kill her. So she got in the car and she drove to her house to run her over with her car, when another friend, which happened to be her neighbor, said, what are you doing? Because she's on the phone with her and she's like, I'm going to go kill this woman for cheating with my husband. Now, logic is, well, shouldn't you kill your husband for cheating with the woman? But whatever. She's going to kill the woman. And her friend goes, no, you better not. And she gets out of her house with her cell phone and she's running barefoot down the street to stop her. And she's like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm coming to stop you. And she shows up to the door and she's like banging on the car. You're not going to kill her. And she realizes that her friend would run barefoot down the street to save her from killing some lady. And she had a breakdown and she stopped and she didn't kill the woman. And that was like a big aha moment for her in her life.
If her friend had shoes on, the girl would have been dead. Okay, just FYI. The shoes made the difference. There's a reason why we're starting with this. And that is, and I want you to take all these things in consideration. Men and women are different, regardless if you say, oh, we should all be the same. That means communication, connecting, and networking are all different for both guys and for girls.
Yeah.
Big time, okay? So let's step back and let's talk about this art of making sure we know how to connect with one another, not network. Let me just define networking real quick. Hi, what's your name?
I'm Sandy.
Hi, Sandy. What do you do?
That's why do you ask what I do
What do you
first?
do? Do you have a card
are
on
you
you?
from LA? I mean,
you have a card?
clearly you're from LA.
There you go,
Who
right?
asks what-
Networking is, what do you do? What's your card? Great, I got one. Put it in my pocket. Number 2. And you literally go through this like machine gun cycle of collecting as many, they call them name cards outside the United States, but as many cards as you can, if they even continue having cards, or V cards, let me rephrase that. So that evening has been successful, so you could spam them later on to get them to do what you want. Networking. Connecting is, hi, what's your name?
I'm Sandy.
Hey, Sandy, great smile. Are you LA or are you from somewhere else?
Oh, I'm actually from the Bay Area, but I've
Okay.
been living in LA for quite some time now.
House on Nanking. Have you ever tried it, or are you from the
Yes,
other
I
side?
know that place so well.
Connecting now shows a connection on something that unites you and then actually creates a bond between the two of you. Now, a connection is going to add to a lot more. Hey, Sandy, if you have a chance, I have an event going on. I'd love to get your contact details because I'm not hitting on her. She's not even seeing I'm doing that because I have some value that I'm handing off to her. I'd love to invite you. Can I get your contact details?
Yes, of course.
Done. Now I'm going to hit on her now because she's hot and I'm going to try to go out there, but that's another story. But the idea, of
Been there,
course,
done that.
yeah, right. But the idea of connecting is, where's that mutual connection to tie you together? Now, what's fantastic is, you know who's really good at this? Bartenders. Bartenders,
Yeah.
if they're good, and even if the music's too loud, they are the ultimate connectors. They find ways to get a bigger, better tip. That's their goal, is to get that tip. Just looking at the crowd. Yeah, so bartenders, they know all the personal questions to lean in more, to stay there longer, to give a bigger tip. It's great. They don't really do anything with that. Boy, could you imagine if bartenders would actually remember your birthday when you would come back and they would have celebrations? They would get a bigger tip all the time.
Well, think about waiters and waitresses in restaurants. When they do things like that as well, you tip them better and you like to come back and you remember them and you sit at their table.
So let's learn from the bartenders of our past who have owned that moment. We have sat there with that drink and we decided, I'm going to give them the biggest tip ever because they made me feel good. That's who we learn from, because they know the art of connection, not networking. They're not going to take your contact details. They're not going to run off with it and spam you. They're not. They are looking for that short win, and that's that tip, right? Do you remember going on a holiday and you had a bartender? May have not been, may have been somebody that you probably wouldn't even have talked to, but they found a way to just make you feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't get my number though.
No, but they may have not even needed to ask, but they got a big tip from you probably. Short-term goal was that tip. So let's
trying to think
step
if I
back.
bought my own drinks.
Let's first step back and say, let's stop networking. Let's just stop it.
Mhm.
Allow networking to go to the super networkers that are out there that are the ones you probably even wouldn't want over your house. You wouldn't want to hang out with. You wouldn't want to go on a hike with, because all they are is knowing just these little mind grenades that gets them to say, yes, 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 here's my card, and they're off. They don't even hang. They don't even hang. We want to connect. Okay, so I want you all, people we have in here, simple question. What are your favorite events to go to meet people? Your favorite event. I'm going to first go to Mark. Mark. Tell me your favorite events to go to meet new people.
I'm a homebody now.
I get it, but you want to go meet somebody. You want to hang out.
Maybe his home's a party house. He meets
Yeah,
people.
that's it.
I think when it's doing an activity, I think, when you're going on a hike, when you're, there's something about actually stepping and walking forward. I mean, like my mind clears when I'm actually moving forward, when I'm stepping. I think that happened with Steve Jobs too. He did his best thinking when he was just moving forward.
Yep.
So I think when I'm going on a hike, there's a certain cadence and a tempo. So I think that's my favorite.
I like that. It's a great one. Let's go to Michael Lauren. What are your favorite places to meet people? Unmute yourself. What do you got? What are your favorite places, each individually?
The best is going on the metal hikes on Sunday.
But that's new. Before that, what did you do?
I told him that too, Ken. I said the same thing just a minute ago.
Live music concerts, big crowds, groups of friends with similar interests.
That's it. Mutual connections, right? That was the whole secret there. Mutual connections. How about you, Lauren? What's your favorite place?
My favorite is actually, I'm a triathlete, and I love the portion of the race when you're on the run or on the bike and you're feeling discouraged, and someone, like, you see someone with a shirt on that's like, I run for dad, or, someone gives you a, like, how are you, where are you from? Like, some kind of connection that's way deeper than the finish line, although the finish line is what we're all working towards. So
Do you connect with people there? Do you actually meet relationships? So
totally.
best place to connect people is there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're completely raw.
Yeah, that makes sense. I want to do a Tough Mudder like this year, just because I feel that would be something similar. Mr. Brown, what do you do?
Sports has always been the place for me.
Give us an example. Like, how do you connect with people in a sporting environment?
I played baseball for 30 years. And so you see so many of your peers all the time, every weekend, couple times a week. So basically it's what's missing from right now, the good old high five and, the joy of sport. Just performing and it's celebrating it with your buddies, and that feeling, it's what's missing now. You can't do it.
Makes sense. I can't believe Ralph Simon just popped on. Wow. Hi, Ralph.
Thank you, Mike.
Ralph, we're talking about connecting, not networking. We're going to get to you in a moment. Mike, thank you very much. Alan, your favorite place to meet new people?
I'm trying to recall new people that I've met. But pickleball, which is a sporting interaction.
Venice? In Venice?
And not in Venice. This was out in the valley, actually. But places where they're organized and playing. It's a mixed doubles environment. Otherwise, neighborhood walks of late. But actually, online in the recent time has been the most fruitful place to meet and have these exchanges. But I haven't been a barfly, well, not in a long time, quite for a while. So in any case, that's...
No. It's a bar. It used to be a bar in LA.
Barfly? No, pickleball, by the way,
aged myself. I don't think it's around.
It's between table tennis and tennis. Pickleball lies in the middle.
Right, and all three of those are very invigorating opportunities to meet.
They are.
To game with each other and to insult, sort of, but really just gamesmanship.
That's your place. Joette, where's your place to meet new people? Thank you, Michael.
I like
around?
outdoor social events.
Just outdoor social events.
Just
Pick-
out, yeah, like even at the beach, when I was at the beach, a man introduced himself to us. And yeah, I just like your hikes and stuff. I would like to do something like that. Gatherings that I know people, places where I know people. I don't like to meet strangers too much by myself.
Oh, I agree with that. How about you,
Because
Jason?
you're a woman.
That's why.
We'll
And I'm
touch
an
upon
older
that.
woman.
We're going to touch upon that. That's important. Jason, how about you?
Is this post or now?
Just normal. Where do you like to
Normal?
meet
I think
people?
the same what she said, just out and about. If at the gym, hiking, social events, you go to friends to watch, sports bars, stuff like that.
Got it. Okay, let's go to the other Jason. I can't hear you again. What's going on,
There's
Jason?
another Jason. Hey,
There's two Jasons
I'll
here.
still be another Jason.
Dr.
Who
Jason.
allowed that?
Dr. Jason, can't hear you.
How about now?
Uh-oh.
Now we got you. And you
There
sound
we go.
better this time.
Too many choices. Travel, meeting people, traveling, long plane flights, going to different cities.
Ooh, plane flights.
Oh, that's a good
Interesting.
Oh, that sounds like Big Mike, who likes to sit in the middle seat so he can talk to both people.
He sits in the middle seat. He loves the middle seat. He's a big guy. He's like Jason size. He's a huge guy, and he sits in the middle seat. Let's go to Sunny. What are your favorite place to meet new people? Nope, can't hear you. You and Jason got the same mic thing going. Pick one. Sunny, figure it out. Ralph Simon from London. Hello, Ralph. Ralph, we're going to talk about connecting. Where is your favorite place, Ralph, to meet new people? Unmute yourself. There you are.
Favorite place to meet new people. That's interesting. Sometimes on an aircraft. But favorite place is in Mumbai, to be honest with you.
Why Mumbai?
Because people there are just amazing. They are warm. They are open. Maybe it's a colonial thing that I can remember from growing up. And of course, also in certain parts of London where people have got an incredible sense of humor. Humor is really a key thing. They always used to say to me in California, the further south you go towards San Diego from Los Angeles, the sense of humor gets worse. Would you agree with that?
OC people don't really have the best sense of humor. I would agree with that.
It's not their fault.
It's not, they live in OC. I don't know, but that's an interesting observation, Ralph. By the way, people that are watching this, that's my mentor. That's my mentor.
Oh, nice.
Ralph is one of the most amazing individuals in my life.
Don't you have a letter from him around here somewhere?
Oh, I always have letters from Ralph. Ralph, I should have one
You
down.
had one last week because you showed it.
Ralph sends me a handwritten letter almost once a week from wherever he's at in the world. It's pretty amazing. It really is.
Ooh.
You found it?
Well, this is an article from it.
These are newspaper cuttings. And he also sends me newspaper clippings, which I think is pretty amazing too. He's old school, but he's awesome school, whatever that school is. But I'm happy you're here. Sunny, did you get your microphone working?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Favorite place?
Sorry about that. So what I was going to say is that I'm a nerd and I like to talk. So noisy places aren't a good place for me. I like places where I can talk to other individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Which would be?
An example of that would be galas, fundraisers, meet and greet events, book launch ceremonies, things like that. Metal, of course.
Metal's good. Okay, Ms. Grigsby.
Me?
Yep.
Okay, I have two places that I love to meet new people. One is at events that are where I like to learn and grow. So like a Brendan Bouchard event, a Tony Robbins event, any kind of event that I can go to where I can meet people who are like-minded, who are also growing themselves. I love meeting people at those places. And then the second place is on vacation. I love to meet people on vacation because they're relaxed, especially when we're at a really nice resort on the beach. Everyone's chill, they're not stressed out, they're taking time to connect and communicate with each other. And it's fun to do little micro adventures where you're at with new people. So I love doing it.
I love events like TED events, something that's very well curated, where you are bundled with people, not where it's like a CES, where it's massive and you can't really meet anybody and it's herds of people. I like things that are very well curated. And I love flying. I think that part, believe it or not, the first time I ever sat business class was because Ralph Simon upgraded me when coming back from London on a British Airlines flight a long, long time ago. And just that whole idea of understanding that the people that are up there there's room to talk and to hang. And from there, I never would ever go back. Coach.
But let's be real, Ken. You like to meet people everywhere you go.
And that's what I want to talk about.
He connects and introduces himself to everybody. The clerk at the grocery store, the waitress at the restaurant.
Everyone's important.
The person who is at the gas station standing there sweeping the floors. Ken's like, hi, I'm Ken. What's your name?
Even when I'm bike riding, I will just wave to people all the time because that 1 second of a smile maybe made a difference. That's the way I feel, okay?
It's awesome.
So the reason why I asked this question, hey, Barbara. So the reason why I asked the question where you like to meet people is essential because you realize that those are like-minded individuals. Those are people that you think you have a thing to mutually have a conversation about, to connect with. That's the whole idea of why you like sports, Mike, is because, hey, let's talk about baseball, or hey, what injuries did you have in baseball, or what was your best whatever baseball. There's a moment of connection that allows you to get beyond baseball. Baseball is your launch pad. You know, trips are your launch pad. Ralph, Mumbai is your launch pad. It is not where it's going to, that's just the beginning. And then it takes you to the next levels. Now, I want to share some secrets that I've learned over the years when it comes to connecting. And Ralph, by the way, is the mensch of all connectors. He literally, if there's a mountaintop, Ralph Simon would be on the mountaintop, okay?
Sandy wants to know how you and Ralph met.
I met Ralph through a woman named Liz Heller. Liz Heller introduced me to Ralph. She goes, you have to meet this individual who's amazing. Ralph, some people may not know who Ralph Simon is. Ralph created the ringtone. He had a company called Moviso. He also was the co-founder of Zomba Records. He's from South Africa. He's lived in the UK for a long time. He used to live in LA for a long time also. And he travels, actually, you would think he's a pilot because he travels so much. He has been involved in some of the biggest changes on our planet over the last 40 years. He is truly a unique person, and he meets with all the world leaders. So I'm honored to even say I know Ralph. And it's great to see you even popped here, Ralph. It's great to see you. But I want to go back to connecting. A couple of things. If I call somebody, how do I call them?
FaceTime.
Video.
I always have to have my face on because anytime I leave the bedroom, it's FaceTime.
Because as we discussed last week, and that is our languages of communication aren't just what languages you speak, but the way you communicate the best. And I realize face-to-face means you are focused. That face-to-face means I am looking at you, you are looking at me. A lot of people are very uncomfortable doing FaceTime or any type of video conferencing like we're doing now, is because you have to give your 100 or perceive 100%.
You mean I can't be eating my lunch while working on a project while talking to you?
If you want to FaceTime me doing that, I like that because then I can say, what are you doing?
You got to get really good at it. You got to type and look like you're looking into the camera. Really, you're just.
So the minute I get a FaceTime call, which I've had 3 since we've been doing that, and I feel so uncomfortable that I sent them to FaceTime voicemail, which doesn't exist, by the way. But if I get a phone call, it's like, I don't care. I don't care because the person that's calling me the normal way, they don't know how I communicate. They don't know what's important to me as much as baseball is important to Mike. So if I want to start a conversation with Mike, I know I have 3 things I could probably talk to him about. 1 would be baseball. That's a new one. 2 would be animation, because he just loves anything around that. And 3 would be culture. He's got a very extensive background in culture. Those 3 things are all right, I'm going to hit it out of the park with you right away. Alan, I don't know yours yet. I'm starting to learn yours, Michael. Alan is raising his hand. Alan, unmute yourself.
I found that button. But the idea of reaching out to anyone that you're involved with or that you come in contact with, it takes the initiative. Other people often don't have the initiative, but they'll respond positively. And so that's fulfilling to me and ends up being fulfilling to those with whom I come in contact, as much as you do, Ken, with whomever and wherever.
Yeah, I think that as long as we've all realized that there is a person that is on the other side that really does matter. Their emotions matter, What their history is probably is incredible, which you don't know. They're a treasure waiting to be discovered. And if you don't give it an opportunity, you won't realize what you've missed out on. Every person is a treasure. And we've done this when we've gone to restaurants and we start talking to people and we go, what? You know, or we went to Arizona recently and the woman that checked us in,
She was amazing.
she so much so that she started following us on Instagram. She can't wait to welcome us to her home. But everyone else would have just said, all right, we're checking in and that's it.
They would have just dismissed her as the receptionist.
So here's my most important, valuable thing to give to you, and that is everyone is a treasure on the other side, waiting for you to discover them. Everyone. And I don't care if you think, oh, they're just at a restaurant, or they're taking my garbage, they're delivering my mail. They're a treasure. They have a story that you can learn from.
Actually,
Yes.
perfect example of this is Joette here on the call. Because Joette, she found me on social media because she found you because somebody was catfishing her being Ken, which happens all the time.
All the time.
And so she saw you and I together, and so she did her little investigation, and then she liked what I had to say, so she reached out to me, and then I liked what she said, so I responded, and then we started a back and forth banter, and then I had an event, and I invited her, and she came, and now we're such great friends. She shows up on all the calls, we talk on the phone, we share funny memes.
She
and
sends us
messages.
cookies.
She sends us cookies. We love Joette. She's like one of our dearest, closest friends.
But you realize there's a treasure.
She's an absolute treasure.
Everyone's a treasure. Harak, who's in our lower corner of our windows, who's walking. In a hike situation, that's what I'm going to talk about, is how you actually create great connecting environments. Harak, you and I met on a hike. We talked about you DJing in the cannabis industry, the things you're doing, and then you became a metal member. But we realized that we're each other's treasures. We were treasures amongst each other, and we were unraveling all the things we've done, but we gave the time to do it. And I go right to what Mark said. Mark, I think you brought up something really important, and that is, what are really good environments to meet people? And that is when you're moving forward. I love that. That was a very smart observation. Forward movement means you are discovering at the same time. You're seeing new things together, as opposed to staying stationary and the views around you are all the same. I invented the hikes, didn't invent them, but I started them is because I realized that most people in LA, a few of you are not in LA, they actually don't go off and do things. There was a movie a long time ago with Steve Martin called LA Stories. Did you ever see it?
I did. I think you tried to make me watch it recently and I fell asleep.
Yes, okay. It was the very beginning as he gets in his car and he goes down his driveway in his car to pick up his newspaper and he drives back up.
That's pretty
That
cool.
was kind of the extent of his car usage. I mean, everything was driving.
It's
There
like
was
when
no
a Trader
walking.
Joe's next to a Target, but you drive from in front of the Trader Joe's to in front of the Target when it's really only like 800 yards.
So I want you to figure out how to connect properly. Here's the first thing. Mark's observation is totally accurate. The hike is perfect. Why? Well, most people don't have their phone next to them. And if they have headphones on, the group themselves, no one else having earphones on, are going to say, could you please take those off? Take them off. All of a sudden now you're aware, you're part of. Hikes, anything that allows you to be present is so important. Dinner parties, present. Tell you about one of the best dinner parties I've ever been to in my entire life. I get this email. I think you may have gotten it too, Ralph. And it said the person's name was somebody I didn't know. His name was Cody. And it says, I'm inviting you to a secret dinner party. You will know nobody there. Like, what? I want to go to this? And there was instructions to the dinner party. And it says, thousands of people have been invited to this dinner party. Only 10 at a time are able to attend. Here are the rules. You cannot say your last name at the dinner party, nor what you do. So I showed up to this apartment in downtown Los Angeles, door opened, and he says, do you know the rules? I go, I know the rules. And I walked in, they go, great. And we're all 10 of us are standing in a circle. And they go, we are going to make the worst burritos ever, meaning no one could cook here. And each two people at a time worked in different areas, cutting the tomatoes, somebody else chopping the protein. And all you can do is talk to the person about their life experience, not their job, not their last name. You knew their first name. You nobody, by the way. So after an hour of making this burrito and brownies, it was a really low end, horrible meal, which was kind of fun, by the way, because none of us could cook. Then we sat around this table that fit all 10 of us, and we had to guess what each person did, which kind of mind-blowing, because our personalities are what shined. So the first person, who was an older gentleman, had a beard, and you go, what do you think this person does? And they go, I think you are a florist, and everyone, yeah, oh, a florist. Yeah, you must own flower factories and all this, and you must be really in the floral industry. And he goes, nope, I'm not a florist. I created the band Chicago. It's like, whoa, you created the band? Yeah, he's the guy who started Chicago.
He's a kind of a flower child.
Well, yeah, but that's what he did. Then the next woman was, well, what do you think she does? And you're an activist. You're somebody that would go off and defend a certain cause. And she goes, nope, I run FX, which is a network. I'm the president of FX Network. As you're starting to realize, everybody had a pretty prominent position, right? One guy was J.J. Abrams, which I was shocked that none of us recognized, but he didn't have his glasses on, and it was J.J. Abrams who started Star Wars and all these things. And we thought he was a magician. He acted like a magician, which in theory he is. So this whole circle of people, of 10, we all became conscious of each other's treasures beyond what our career and our last name was.
Mm-hmm.
What did they think you are?
Yeah, that's a good
An actor. I was an actor. No. Damn it, right?
I see that. I see
that.
Actor or politician.
When I first saw Ken, I was on IMDb looking him up.
She was.
That movie, I just can't find it.
But let me tell you what's really cool about this. This group of 10, we still talk. We talk all the time. And we're going to do a dinner party again. But what was amazing is it's not because of our careers. It's not because of our last names. It's because we shared something that removed our titles. And it brought us back to almost like that. We're all in this room. We're all accepted because we were invited. And what we have done as in a career does not make us part of this club. Well, of course it did in theory, because we've all found some level of success. It was, we're going to make this horrible dinner together. And by the way, we always joke around about how bad it was because none of us could cook. Imagine looking at life when you meet somebody by removing their last name and their title and finding out what their inherent treasures are. It's a game changer. It really is. Like you're a game changer because what you have achieved through a lot of the challenges that you have, you really show that you're a constant winner all the time. You're a treasure. And so if I would put a mask over your face, which we all have to wear now, so I wouldn't see you as being an attractive woman. I'm telling you, these masks, I'm just saying, everyone looks great, right? I would realize through your story, it's like, you're amazing. Then I ask what you do, and then even more. Like Ralph Simon. When you learn about Ralph's from South Africa, and the challenges and the parallels and all the things he had to do with his ex-business partners. And as long as you don't know what he does now, because everybody would want his business card right away because they would want to connect with him, you would go, I need to know this person because of the essence of what they went through. And Jason, I'm going to talk to Dr. Jason. When you work with people through recovery, when they start to realize it's not who they are at this moment, but what they've achieved through life, and they look at their own internal treasures, to get through the addictions they're going through, that really becomes more of their base of what they are as a human, not what they have as in a job or a career, right?
Well, that's exactly that's what I focus on. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Because if you can see that in other people, if you can recognize that everyone, to use your word, is a treasure, then you start to maybe open up to the possibility that you are too. And it's really how we see ourselves. That's how we see people. So if you practice, okay, Ken's got something to offer and Sandy has something to offer, maybe I do too. Because the deficit in these self-destructive habits is see ourselves as worthy or worthwhile or good enough, don't measure up. And that would be most people's anxiety about going. I know Jade's cool. That would be of the anxiety about going to a high-powered dinner party is you feel like you don't measure up.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
One of the tools I like to do with my clients is I ask them specifically, if you were walking down the street and you ran into a person and you had no idea who this person was, and unbeknownst to you, it was you. So you walk up to yourself, but you don't recognize them. And you strike up a conversation and you start asking them about things they're passionate about and things that they love, and tell me about your family, and just have a conversation with them like you would with most people that you meet. At the end of that conversation, would you like that person? And when I ask people this, think for yourselves, would you like that person? It's a yes or a no. Who here says yes?
I would like that person. Ralph, would you like the person that you, honestly, don't, this is an honest thing. Jason doesn't have his hand up, and that's
I
interesting.
missed the question. I'm sorry.
I said, if you were walking down the street and you ran into a person and you did not know it was you, and you had a conversation with them, would you like that person at the end of the conversation? Remember, you don't know.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There you go.
That's it. If you go into life like that and know that you would absolutely love yourself, then it's so easy to walk into any circumstance with that in your mind. I've had someone come back to me and say, no, I wouldn't like myself. And I said, well, why? Why would you not? And the first thing she went into was where she thought she should be and where she wasn't. And I said to her, I'm not asking you to think of where you should be, not where you think. That's a projection. That's a future thing. Think of where you are right now. So think of your job. Well, I don't want to be at my job. Okay, pretend that this was the only option for the rest of your life. At your job, do you perform the best that you can perform? Do you like who you are at your job? She thought about it for a while and she goes, yeah, actually, I'm really good at my job. I hate my job, but I'm really good and I make a difference. So I said, okay, now look at it that way. And she ended up coming to the conclusion that yes, she would actually really like herself. So it's about not looking at who you are, but the person underneath.
I know, Mark, you want to ask a question or ask a question to the group?
Yeah, I did can you hear me?
Yep.
I did a TEDx and I asked this question to a TEDx audience, and someone who was a TEDx coach said they'd never seen someone right out of the gate ask an audience to do something, and they all did it. So here's the question, and I want everybody to answer it. What made you smile today? Just think what made you smile today? Everybody real quickly, Ken, just quick. Okay, we know you woke up and she got up early with you. Next.
No,
I saw this real cute little baby that had a face of an angel and nice chubby cheeks.
Wow. Okay. Everybody, that's great. Who else? Go on. Let's go through it.
Myself. Smiled at myself.
You smiled at yourself?
Wait, who said that?
Ellen did.
Oh, yeah, go on. Continue.
What do you got, Ralph? What made you smile today, Ralph?
Early this morning, very early, I went into the local news agent, and there's a guy that comes from Sri Lanka who runs it. And I knew how to say hello to him in Tamil, one of the Indian languages, and he beamed, and just seeing him beam made me erupt in a great smile.
I love that.
Keep going, keep going.
The word is great. The word is yippity.
Yippity?
Yippity ki-yay?
Yippity, I love that.
Joette, what about you?
There's a lot of things that made me smile today. I'm trying to think of the first one and I can't remember the first one, so I'm just going to throw one out there. When I went to Starbucks, my girlfriend that I saw there.
Smile. That works. Barbara, what made you smile? What's the first thing that made you smile today?
My son and I did our exercise, so that always makes me smile.
Oh, yeah, like that.
Together.
We all just smiled when you said it. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. Harak, what made you smile first thing today?
First thing, honestly, I can't remember, but the moment I stepped outside and felt the sun on my face, you can't help but smile. So it's nice to be in Southern California.
Yep. Mike Brown, what do you got?
Checked my email this morning, and Stu Heinecke, your buddy, the cartoonist, wanted me to animate a piece for him.
That's awesome. Stu Heineck. It's Stu Heineck.
Yeah, Heineck.
Great job. I like that. What do you got?
That's a good way to start.
It's a great way to start. What do you got, Dr. Jason?
I'm with Barbara. My son and I went to the gym today and we did leg day.
We
Uh,
got a day tomorrow.
it's fun.
and what made it
My
is
son
we
didn't want to
Johnson.
do legs.
He's very skinny and tall. He's 6'3" and
So is
28 waist.
Oh.
Said, some of my pants I wear not because the waist is tight, but because the legs are. So this is a summer project. Get some muscle on. It made me very happy.
That is pretty cool. Dr. Mark Goldston, what made you smile?
Well, that you guys did this. I did a talk to 1,000 Russians along with Daniel Kahneman, and I have a video of it of 1,000 Russians standing up, smiling.
No, but what made you smile today? First thing today.
I get pictures of my grandson every day. I see him every day. He's 16 months old. He's got a joy of wonder that I'm determined that the world won't kill off.
Oh, I love that. Sonny, what made you first thing smile today?
My 9-year-old, who was acting kind of recklessly last night, this morning behaved very responsibly, and that made me smile.
Oh, I love that. What do you got, Lauren? What made you smile first thing this morning?
I'm just so grateful to wake up. Really, I just wake up when I don't think of like things I have to do. I just am glad to be awake and alive.
Just waking up made you smile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a good attitude. What do you got, Michael?
After our run, she made a little joke with me, and it was just so sweet and connecting.
What did I say?
I like her face to that.
What was the joke?
Sexy book title.
Oh.
and then we just laughed and hugged.
I love that. But you're right, Mark. You just made us all feel like there was a connection even to ourselves. So now, by Jason saying he saw a little baby with chubby cheeks, it's like that's funny, and there's a connection there. Like we want to have that conversation. That was really cool. I like that.
I always think of Jason as the baby face chubby cheek lover.
Well, I love that.
You know what? I accept that. I am.
So this is what I want.
You just want to see those cheeks and just chew on them. You just want to chew on them.
Stop it, you two. Now it's getting kind of weird. This is what I want you to think about. I want you to think about what is your best way of when you meet somebody, how do you then take that relationship to another level? And I'm not talking about dating them, but including them into your life. Because that's what it is. The minute you say, I like that person, or I find there's a connection, you're going to include them into your life. People don't realize that's what it is. You're making room for them now. How do you do that? How do you foster that besides sending them an email or something like that? I'll tell you the first thing that I do, especially on a professional connection level, and there's a personal one. By the way, most of my professional turn into my personal. I have a very, very thin line between professional and business, or personal business, and you know that. So what I do right away, I have this app, which all of you should have, called Evernote. And I have Evernote set up like this, is once I get a business card, so after I speak at a conference or something like that, once I get a business card, Evernote takes a picture of it, adds them in my LinkedIn, and then sends them a letter saying, hey, it was great meeting you. I really am happy. And then sends me a reminder in a week to actually reach out to them, to connect with them. But it does it all automatically. And what I love about Evernote is it GPS tags where I uploaded the business card. So if I'm in Malaysia after an event, I actually could go to Malaysia and look at my map, and I could see all the people, business cards that I scanned in from Malaysia. So if I'm in Kuala Lumpur, I go, oh, look at who I could call, because I met them here. So I use that as my first filter to bring people in. Number two, I want to know everyone's birthday.
Yeah.
Because every day for about a half hour, I send birthday wishes out to everybody. Every day. I have an email I send out. I want to know people's birthday because that's their magical day.
You're absolutely right.
Their birthday it's their day. It's the day that Earth has given you to us. So what are your methods to start connecting to include people in your life? I'd love to hear them. Do you have one? Think about it. Think about it. Let me go to Ralph Simon. Ralph, the superconnector of superconnectors, the deity of all that. How do you, once you meet somebody, include them into your life?
Well, two things. What you've said about birthdays, I think, is absolutely critical. And if you can do that on a regular basis, it becomes second nature after a while. But people do remember that. And also, what I've always found over the years has worked is when you meet someone for the first time, the next day, if you send them an email just simply saying that you were glad that you anointed your friendship by meeting up, people remember things like that. It just really, it's a door opener.
So true. So true. I love that, Ralph. Barbara, how do you do it? What do you do when you meet somebody you are now going to include them in your life?
I do that birthday thing as well. That's a big one. I mean, you know, it takes you 5 minutes. And then I always think, hey, somebody, I may be the only person to say happy birthday to this person outside of their family. So I was like, hey, I'll just say it. And I'm with Ralph as well. I kind of do this follow-up email and stuff like that. And then if I am in a location where I can meet the person in person, a little harder right in the moment, then I do connect up with them like you can, where it's like, hey, I'm in this location. Hey guys, let's meet up in this location. So I kind of do all three of those.
I just want to show you another thing. If you are going to do the birthday, this is one, and I do this every day too. Here's an example.
Hey, Nikolai, what's going on today? Anything? What's happening? Kuna's birthday?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's Kuna Mahaj's birthday? No. It's my phone calendar. It's in your phone calendar.
I do birthday videos. I don't want to go on LinkedIn. I don't want to go on LinkedIn and say happy birthday like everybody else did. I will make a birthday video. So I got a list of birthday videos I got to make, and we have done some epic birthday videos.
We once dressed Ken up like the guy that was getting the birthday video. He had a wig and a dress on and everything.
I mean,
that sounds like
they're epic, right? Because
that's epic, Ken.
What was that?
I said that's pretty epic.
They're epic. Birthday videos
See
are.
if I can find a picture.
Yeah, you want to show a picture? All right, so Jason, let me go to music, Jason.
Music, Jason. For me, definitely those two: the birthdays and the email. On a personal, even sometimes business, I like to ask, like, you have any books you recommend? Kind of gives me a little insight.
I like that. That's pretty cool. And then you can connect with them if you actually do read the book. Or
because you might have a book that you both read, or you can like, oh, good, like, Big Paul. I mean, I know Big Paul 2,000 years, but a lot of people I know, I'll ask for, book recommendations, and what are you reading? I'm reading this, and we'll exchange ideas on books and then talk about it.
Got it. You want to show the picture? Oh, okay. But that's
hold it closer.
The camera doesn't focus if I get closer. That's out of focus.
Oh,
you can see it.
What?
He has a wig and he's got a dress on.
It was a whole awesome thing. Sonny, how do you do it? What are your tips?
No judgment.
So what I do in my conversation, the first conversation, I try to find ways through which I can add value to other person's life. That gives me the follow-up item. I don't want to be, just following up, hey, just saying hello, just nice to meet you. More than that, I want to be able to say, hey, we talked about this thing. This is what I can offer. These are the next steps. That gives me a sequence of opportunities to reconnect with these people.
Valuable.
That is super valuable.
Dr. Mark.
Look, I'm the shrink in the group, so you got to take everything I say with a grain of whatever. I do podcasts. I interview people, and when I'll sometimes reach back and I'll say to them, I want to thank you because not only did I enjoy our conversation, I felt enjoyed by you.
Oh, that's good.
I love that.
Oh, and I say, and I'll tell you, it's a very rare quality, and I just wanted to thank you.
I'm stealing that from you. Thank you for that.
Go steal away. That made you smile. Go on.
That sounds like a perfect thing for say on a first date.
Because it might get you a second date.
One of the things we talked about relationships, I think I mentioned that if you think that contempt is the killer of all relationships, feeling enjoyed by the other person is the opposite.
It's totally true.
Putting a smile on their face. Here's the way you identify a narcissist. You say to someone, would you rather another person put a smile on your face, or would you rather put a smile on their face?
That's true.
Dr. Jason.
Good one.
I think I'm a narcissist.
At least you're an honest one.
So what's your connecting tools or secret?
Gotta go.
I asked them. I'm in them. You know, I'm with you, Ken. I made a comment in the thing. I think everybody's got something interesting about them, and I see you there, Mark. And it's something interesting, something they're wearing, something they're doing, a mannerism, something. You know, I'm an observer, so I try and give people the gift of observation, something I notice about them. And not you're a beautiful woman, right? The same thing, but something like how you hair on one side and just a little on the other side, which reminds me of my dog who's got this mountain of hair, and something like that to draw.
That's a connection. That's making an initial connection. How do you make it longer term? How do you include them into your life? What do you do now for follow-up?
Invite them over for dinner or get together for a cup of coffee or something like that. We have dinners probably every week. People over.
Got it. That's awesome. Joette, what do you do?
I take whatever's from that conversation I had with them, and I follow up with how they're doing on whatever that conversation was. Something important that I got from them, I try to follow up and let them know that I listen, I care, and I want them to know that.
You do such a good job.
You do.
We learn from you, Joette.
Yes, yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you.
Mike Brown, what do you do? Well, how do you include those people into your life that you connected with? Mike, unmute. We have to learn to do that.
When I connect with people, I try and jump on it immediately. Because what I find is that sometimes I meet a second group of people, and it all goes into mush, and I can't really remember. So my main thing is do it right away.
Yep, get it done. You're right. Alan?
I always identify the self that's within them is within me. And if they follow up on it, I'll send them some information or a link to some information that is that's deep. And if they pick up on it, we strike up a conversation. We continue.
So you challenge it. You challenge the initial meeting with.
Well, it's a carrot, and it's a morsel, and some pick up on it right away, and it's good for both of us.
Michael, how do you do it?
Lately, it's been, what can I do for you? How can I?
That's such a, because I need some serious weeds pulled right now. I'm just gonna let you know.
So we're trained.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good question to ask all the time, because I'm gonna tell you, some people definitely will take advantage of it. So how have you done? There's a lot. I have a honeydew list that I can't wait to give to you, Michael.
Side. I'll help you find someone.
Oh, there you go. Okay,
There you go.
Outsource.
That's brilliant.
How about you, Lauren? How do you do that? How do you, once you connect with somebody, how do you make sure they're included in your life? What do you do? What's your follow-up?
My follow-up usually begins with gratitude, like some way to thank them for either sharing who they are or the way that they made me feel or that we felt together. But that's usually my first way to follow up.
You want to express that you really admire and the connection was important.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, I really appreciate.
It was my turn.
Oh, you have something?
I
now?
do have something now.
Oh, let me hear
It
that.
took me forever to think of it.
You had a lot of time.
I connect with people by trying to engage with them actively. So going on walks with them, going to a coffee shop, doing a Zoom call. Lauren's like, yeah, me. Joette's like, yeah. But I reach out and try to make a connection, like an in-person live interaction. And if it's not possible, then a regular scheduled thing. That's what I do. And then if they don't follow through on that, then they get written off and I move on.
Yes. So let's do what Dr. Mark said, and that is we need to move forward on our relationships, make sure we are connecting, not networking. And we all know that we need to understand and discover the treasure of the other person that's across from you.
Yes.
And I appreciate all you guys hanging out here. I really do. I hope to see you on a hike on Sunday. And let's make sure we're always hanging out here on Thursdays.
Yes.
Or
Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
We all do Thursdays.
Tuesdays. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
All right,
Thank
see
you.
you later. See you, everybody.
Bye.
Ciao for now.
Ciao for now.